Hi, everybody. This is Shalane Davis, Officer Shalane Davis, coming back to you live inside of these arbitrational recordings. And thank you so much for listening to my arbitrational recordings when it comes to the federal government and our state legislations in regards to the setups by the Democratic Party going on for a long time in this country. But the war and the civil unrest that you see right now that is going on inside of our country has been caused by a regime of criminals and a Democratic caucus, as I have spoken out to the American people on several occasions. I have factual finding information, data, and also technology information to verify my certificates and my statements inside of these affidavit recordings. My national provider number is 1033 979 380, certification and tender information to the American people and the federal government. My EIN number is 336932345, and certification of processing these certifications and affidavit statements to the American people. I have often called out the governors inside of these criminal regimes and criminal empires of gang mentality and leaderships of gang members that is taking place inside of our country right now, inside of terrorist groups that they have organized crimes, governors using their offices inside of signing off on these illegal practices and breaking constitutional enactments inside of their states. Gavin Newsom is the arsonist. He should be charged. He is also a fraudster. He also is a conspirator inside of this money laundering empire with corruptions of insurance companies and claims. He set this up inside of the December 31st, 2024 fires that took place that is not being algorithed any longer because of the cover-up. He must still remain under investigation for criminal acts done in his city inside of Los Angeles and criminal acts that continue to go on behind the scenes of conspiracy. Kathy Hochul, a governor of New York State, inside of her criminal acts of money laundering, shutdowns of police officers inside of their areas of the lawfare that she has continued on inside of mortgage and deed frauds, inside of money laundering to private organizations and funding a Ukraine war and violation of the Medicaid and Medicare clauses of the United States taxpayers in New York City and New York State, along with Letitia James' criminal activities of real estate fraud, mortgage and deed fraud, and continuation on taxation and finance fraud, money laundering conspiracies to commit fraud, and has continued on to commit fraud, along with Mayor Eric Adams, who is also a fraudster. And they are playing an undercover scene in a scheme and a scam to mislead the American people, violation of their oaths inside of them being a criminal empire, and to continue on to mislead and undermine the federal government inside of conspiracies of insurrectionists and criminal activities done by an official inside of breaking the oath and the violations of the Constitution of U.S. 18. They all must be brought to justice. Continue on with Pritzker. Criminal Pritzker is standing inside of a position of leadership, but that has controlled his army that he has created inside of criminal acts of gang members, inside of immigrational terrorist groups, and continuation of conspiracies to commit crimes against the American taxpayer, and violation of banking and fraudulent wire frauds continue on inside of a criminal empire connected to the governors that I have mentioned inside of blue sanctuary cities, blue sanctuary states that have this criminal empire going on of deceit, conspiracy to commit crimes, murder, inside of the hostage taking of the Americans, robbing the American people of their funds, continue on inside of drug conspiracy, inside of giving off weapons to juveniles and so inside of his state, his city of Chicago, along with Mayor Brandon Johnson. They are acting inside of the violation of the codes inside of the U.S. Constitution of being a governor inside of the position that they hold, and they have broke codes, and they must be charged and brought to criminal charges immediately. Before any type of election can take place, we must take action against these members that have taken a criminal profile against the American people in their cities. They have turned away from the Constitution and have become criminals of this land. Along with any other governor, any other blue sanctuary city inside of their mayoral control and connections of violation of oath and carrying a gang mentality using the offices of a government official. They are not above the law, and they have broken the laws, and they must be removed and imprisoned inside of these members that I have called you to draw an attention to of what they have done to this country, what they have done to you and I. Our offices of Donald J. Trump is the highest office in this land, and we demand an action upon these governors to bring these charges to them with the evidence that we have at hand to show cause that these members are in fact of violations of civil rights, violation of the criminal penal codes, of gang racketeering charges done inside of a caucus of an administration of a government state official. These members are criminals. We are not going to rest until these members are brought to justice. Along with Barack Obama's setup inside of his behind the scene of ex parte meetings in order for them to lead this country to despair and lead this country inside of a civil war behind the scene, conspiring with the head leader of the caucuses of Joe Biden administration, the LGBTQ community, and other members of a terrorist group to cause harm to the American taxpayer, to inflict violence upon members of a conservative nature or a member of a Donald Trump administration, or we the people voted in 90 million plus to enforce the laws of Donald J. Trump and what his office and us as a people that we stand for with our country constitution, that we would not tolerate, nor will we put up with any type of violent acts set up to do violent acts in government cities that are ran by administrators of a government personnel or a mayoral control of a gang mentality to place guns in civilians' hands and put blockage and roadblocks amongst their city municipality jurisdictions, which is an obstruction of justice, and it is a criminal act. And we demand that you remove all barricades inside of your leadership of hostage the taxpayers. You have placed the American people in danger, and you are violating these laws. And we, the American people, and we, the U.S. military, we are coming hard. So I advise any member that is innocent to remove yourself and your children out of the jurisdiction of these sanctuary cities, while we, as the American people of the Donald Trump administration and our U.S. military, regain law and order in our country. We demand our civil rights to be protected, our safety to be protected by our U.S. military and the offices of Donald J. Trump, along with his cabinet. We are the American people, and we will not tolerate war or gain by any Democratic governor. You are under arrest. You have the right to remain silent, and anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. I rest.